So what is the next, like, what's your next inspiration? I know you have the Dream Factory. So
Well,
tell us, like,
before I say that, I just
Okay.
want to say this. I'm really grateful that, one, you exist and that you have the platform you have,
thank you.
because there's a lot of weirdos in this world, and they find a way to become really successful somehow, some way, and it's so refreshing that there's you who can have this essence, can have this glamour, can have this life that you created, but still have the heart that you have. And it's people like you who need to be the most successful people in the world. So what I want to take a lot of pride in this next chapter is bringing people like us together.
Yes.
Because for some reason, the supervillains, they know how to link up. We need the superheroes to not be so antisocial. Because
Yeah.
you got superheroes, but they're all doing their own thing. But what if we bring all these, and I call them angels.
Yes.
Like all of us are like, we're in the city of angels right now. But like, how do we make the city of angels like more angels to where like we change the perception? I've always loved influencing culture. Like in hip hop, that's what we did. Soulja Boy, that's what we did with fashion, with lingo, with music, with sounds, with beats.
Yeah.
We influence culture. But now that I've left music, influence culture, went to Nike, influence culture. The Colin Kaepernick commercial was the most like cultural pivoting like Nike commercial.
Yeah.
And now like I'm in this like space of like I want to make dreams come true.
Yes.
I think that's the most positive movement that I could ever be a part of. Is okay, how do we make dreams come true? How do we make a movement? Well, I can't do it by myself. What if we bring the most amazing people together and we lift up this city, but also the world? So when people think of LA, they do think of like dreams, but they also know it's a really dark place where people get hurt, or it'll chew you up and spit you out, or
Yes.
you'll be taken advantage of. Like all those things are associated with LA.
Absolutely.
When you're a little girl from Orlando, or a little girl from London, or a little boy from Israel, or from Atlanta, I want you to think of LA, and I know this is possible, and I'm glad this is in existence and written down right now or recorded. I want people to think and to know LA, that's where people go to chase their dreams, and the whole city rallies around lifting everybody up.
Yes.
Hollywood is dying. Like it's not the same.
Yeah.
Like there's a change happening, and I want us to be what fills the gap, because right now something's ready to happen. COVID got rid of a lot of things. It's trying to find itself. So I'm trying to make my move just like how I was when I was CEO Charlie. Like, okay, what problem am I going to fill? Boom. How am I going to provide value? I'm doing all those same things. But right now it's with love. It's with love and dreams. And I'm seeing an opportunity to shift culture where we're lifting up other people, where we're creating a movement that's so positive, but for us not to always be looking up, but to be looking around and also down, like we talked about with that producer.
Yes.
It's like, okay, somebody like you who I feel like you're at the beginning of your career.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even look at it's about to begin. Your manifestations of what you're creating, but it's like, I'm looking at it like, how can we all lift each other up? And we can become this new, like, angels of LA.
Charlie's Angels.
I wasn't going to say that, but it sounds good. But, like, we are the angels, including myself. Like, I'm a Charlie's Angel. Like,
Yes, you are.
we're lifting up all of each other to become the best realtor in the world, because the best realtor in the world has a big heart. You know, and the best developer in the world has a big heart. What if that is the pivotal change that everybody that we're networking with, we're changing culture and we're winning, and we're winning because I believe that the people who have the biggest hearts need to be the biggest winners, need to be the ones with the most money so they can make the most change. And I think we can do it. It's always been a fight between good and evil. Like, both need to exist. Both do exist. But it's time for good to win.
But dark can't shut out all the light.
No.
Light wins.
Even if it's a completely dark room, that's a lot of darkness. But the smallest little light
will shine through.
And sometimes darkness helps a light shine brighter. So,
absolutely.
Hey, I think it's time for us to shine. It's time for us to create a movement. I'm excited for what you're doing. I'm excited for you to be a part of this movement. I'm excited to make dreams come true. We were just talking before the podcast started.
Yes.
And I'm excited for the audience to hear this.
Yes.
So there was a homeless lady who's the most amazing woman on planet Earth. She's in college. She has an autistic son. Her name is Miss Dia. She's going to college right now for her psychology degree. She has a 4.0. She lives in a homeless shelter. She does not. She only gets $60 a month in food benefits from the government. She's got a 4.0. She's Dean's List. She's applying to get into UCLA or UC Berkeley. I want her to go to UCLA because I know people over there that I could possibly influence on getting her accepted.
So do I.
And when I brought it to you, you were like, I know some of the top people over there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, see, this is how we can make the world a better place. It costs me and you nothing to make a phone call. Mm-hmm. But what happens when we put all of our networks together? And it's like, okay, I met this person. And then I plug it into this dream machine where we're like the machine. We're the factory. We're the dream factory. It's not just a place. It's like we are the machine and the factory. It's like, okay, we got a Miss Dia. Does anybody know anybody at UCLA? There's thousands of people across the country applying who have 4.0s and are on Dean's List. How do we get her to the top of the list? She's the female version of Will Smith, Chris Gardner from Pursuit of Happiness. She's in a homeless shelter. She's got a 4.0. She's a genius. She's so smart. How do we get her ahead? How do we even launch a fundraiser? Because we gave her $10,000, but how do we launch a fundraiser to get her $50,000? Because we can do that with the click of a button and it still costs us nothing. And we change a life, but then her story goes on to inspire millions. And then she's a part of our team now to where we don't need just celebrities to be a part of our team. Let's make the next inspirational people that are a part of our team.
Yes.
Like I said, we don't always have to look up. We could build somebody up. Celebrities are cool and all, but I'm more interested in making my own celebrities. Like the little girl, Lila, with the cookies.
Yes, she's adorable.
She walks around St. Louis. She's a celebrity. She had 5,000 people show up to buy her cookies. She is, honey.
Get it?
It's like, I wish she was in L.A. We'd be hanging out every day.
That feeling for those people, though, to feel that, to give them that feeling is so powerful. Is that how so Nike. Yeah. I just want to go back to the Nike thing because it's so powerful. That's really what, besides all the other amazing things you've done, that's really what showed people, I think, a lot of your magic was the whole Nike situation. How did they tell you that, you submitted a video? Did you mail it? How did you do that? And how did they contact you?
I see, I believe, if you try to go through traditional methods,
you get left behind like everyone else.
Yeah, because it's more work for them. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta stand out.
You gotta make it easy. So I put the cart before the horse. I love putting the cart before the horse. I actually put the cart so far before the horse that it actually becomes an advantage because instead of sitting in the cart, you gotta think. You got a horse, and you got a cart. You're sitting in the cart. And the horse is going slow because it's pulling the cart. But what if you put the cart so far in front of the horse that you get on the horse and you realize you didn't even need to be in the cart and now you're zooming on the horse? I don't even want the cart. So I'm just going to put the cart before the horse and get on the horse. So it's with Nike, I'm not even trying to go through the traditional ways. I'm just going to make the fan-made Nike commercial. I'm going to put it out. And then I'm going to ask everybody to just try to send it to different people at Nike. It impacted people. The film inspired people, so they wanted to see me win. So I'm going through an untraditional method. Within 3 days, the gentleman at Nike who called me, he said, "We have no idea who you are, but somehow you have managed to get our entire campus here at Nike in a frenzy over who's going to bring you here first."
Wow.
And like, I was like, this actually worked. Like I shot a moonshot and it worked. And then, so they flew me up to Beaverton, and, when I walked on campus, everybody knew who I was, which was really weird for me as just a dreamer athlete.
Yeah.
So they walked me into this like conference room, and one of the employees walked up to me and whispered in my ear, and they were like, listen, they don't even do this for LeBron.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are they doing? It was like, I don't know, but all the big dogs are in this room. I was like,
serious meeting going down.
They didn't tell me this. I thought it was going to be a cute little meet and greet, little feel-good story.
You had no idea what was coming.
I thought they were going to give me some shoes.
Oh, my gosh.
Be like, oh, take a little picture. Oh, a little feel-good moment. They had a big plan.
Wow.
There were about 30 people in this conference room. They had these TVs all around, and I was on all the TVs. And I'm like, pinching myself. I'm like, is this real? Like, am I living in a video game? Like, am I just, like, is this a simulation? Like, am I playing a game? Like, I'm actually experiencing the 3D physical version of a manifestation.
Yes.
And I experienced all this magic in order to get here. Like, he walked through my front door. They say, like, oh, opportunities aren't just going to walk through your front door. They actually can. I'm not going to say they can't, because they can. It did.
Yeah.
It's real life. I wrote it in my notebook. And an hour later, he walked in my front door. And the night before at Gracias Madres, I had somebody telling me, like, I need to be realistic, and I got mad. But I actually believe in the lower frequency of being mad, because it tunes my frequency fast. Mm-hmm. Like, my frustration manifests things very fast.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there in the conference room at Nike, and when the gentleman sitting across from me, his name was Camilo. He was the head of North America. And then you had Gino Ficioni, who was the head of Global. And they sat there and told me, they said, we forgot why we came to work every day. Here at Nike, you know, we're a publicly traded company. Like, it's all about the numbers. He said, but we forgot about the essence of what sport is. And it's dreams. And they said, we're going to change the entire direction of our company because of this little fan-made Nike commercial.
Wow.
And I just couldn't believe it. It was all the proof I needed that manifestation is real. I needed nothing else. I realized that there is a higher power that is working. And it's working all the time. And it will tell me what I'm supposed to see. And it will conspire for me if I show up with belief. And it will send all the help. You see it in superhero movies.
Yeah.
Like, right when the dragon's about to kill you, something swoops in.
Save them.
Every time. It's no different with us.
Yeah.
So that was what I believe. The pivotal moment in my life when all my dreams came true is when I said, let me go make other dreams come true for the rest of my life. And that is what I have dedicated my life to since. And we've made over 2,000 dreams come true since.
Wow.
And what's weird is, like, as popular what I do is, you'll notice I don't talk about it. Like, we've like probably 2 hours in, and I haven't like talked about what I do today. Is because, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, I would rather somebody else talk about me helping people than me talking about, oh, I help people.
Yeah.
Like on my Instagram, I use Instagram to like raise money for people, and I like mobilize an audience, but like, it's weird. Like, I'll do podcasts and just not talk about what I do, even though we have 8 million people a part of our movement, and we do dreams with like Oprah and like, you know, Mike Tyson and Will Smith and, you know, whoever. But yeah, it's weird. Like, I don't know why I don't talk about it as much, but I guess I need to. It is a very inspirational thing. But if anybody is watching right now, and you do check out what we're doing, I do ask you to come join the Army of Love. Like, come join. Like, we help people every day. There's a kid right now who he's in the ER. He's a friend of ours. We've been helping him. He has leukemia. He just went into the ER last night. And the family, they've run out of money trying to keep him alive. It's very expensive once the doctors say nothing else is going to work. But what are you going to do as a parent? The doctors say nothing else is going to work. The doctors are covered by insurance. But when they say nothing else is going to work, you as a parent, you don't just roll over. You're like, no, I got to find a solution. You got to fight.
Yeah.
So they've exhausted their money. So just imagine, like, not having money is stressful without a kid who's dying. Just imagine a kid who's dying and not having money to feel like, now you feel like
helpless.
So it's like, we want to be there. So we're launching a video today where we want to raise $50,000.
Amazing.
For this family, and hopefully we do it in a couple days. But then we got a whole bunch of people we're about to be working together on with kids with cancer. Mm-hmm. One of them wants to swim with dolphins, an exotic location. Maybe we can hook up some stuff. We talked about that. Mm-hmm. We need some private jets. We don't need to be having these kids go through airports. We need to be able to put them right on a plane. Airsick, boom, private jet, dream experience, swim with dolphins. Get them back to LA or put them in the penthouse. Do you know anybody who knows the Dream Hotel?
The one here?
Well, just the company in general.
Yeah.
Because there's this one girl, she loves Hamilton. She wants to see Hamilton. So I want to send her to New York. So we want to send her to New York. I want to put her in the Dream Hotel for obvious reasons. Well, I'll take any hotel if we have a relationship. But, like, this is how we go about dreaming. It's like kind of like what my mother did for me. My mother believed in my dream and didn't look at anything I was doing as inferior. She just believed. And so when I meet somebody, I don't see any limitations. I see their future. Like, when I see you, I don't see you as you are today.
Yeah.
I only see the possibilities of the future. I mean, what you are today is absolutely amazing, but that's nothing in comparison to who you are. Like, your possibilities and your essence and where you're going is absolutely mind-blowing. And that's all I see in each person that I meet.
Yes.
Even if it's a homeless person. I see a homeless person. I don't see homeless. I see a kid with Down syndrome. I don't see Down syndrome. I met a kid with Down syndrome. He wanted to be a professional wrestler. The average person would base his stats and make him who he has been. He has a syndrome where he can't be independent. I'm thinking to myself, I think you can be a great wrestler. I think Down syndrome is actually your gift to be a wrestler. You have an advantage over anybody, just like my brain tumor was an advantage to become a Nike athlete.
Yeah.
I think a disability is only an ability. So when I see him, I see his future. And so I believe, and we made him the first professional Down syndrome wrestler. He got signed to a big manager. We sold out an arena in Orlando.
I saw it was so amazing.
But that's the power of just belief in other people. And if I could leave this world with one thing, it would be like that word belief. You just got to believe so much in yourself, but also in other people, that you actually end up doing something. Because it's the belief. It's the belief that gets you to show up.
Yeah, if you think something's too hard or difficult, you don't want to do it.
Not one bit.
But it's when you have so much belief in yourself, as we do. I know we both believe in everything. Like, everything's possible. That's just how we are. But it's nice to share that with someone who doesn't have it. Mm-hmm. That's why I was saying, like, going up to someone, doing something for someone without them asking, I think is so powerful, because people are so like, what's in it for me? Take. And that's all you hear. I mean, especially in at least my world that we live in, it's negotiations, it's this, it's, social media and all. There's negative things that can come about. But when you go outside of that whole world and then you go into the real world and you see there's people that are struggling, like I live in West Hollywood. I drive in my G-Wagon and my beautiful clothes and my dream life of all the things that I always wanted. But I drive by people that are begging someone just to feed them, and everybody's driving by overlooking them. And it's like, even if I don't have the money, I'll put the window down because I won't have cash on me and I can't get out. And they'll come up and I'll have a conversation with them in traffic and they'll be so happy. I'll be like, I don't have any money to give you. I'm so sorry. But like, how are you doing? And then they're like, thank you so much. Like they have such a smile on their face more than when I give them money. Like they have like a smile because they had a human interaction, or you ask them like, how's your day going? I went up to someone once and told him like, God brought me to you. Like, don't give up on what you're doing. Like I got food before I found the person, and I just went and I was like, I know I need to find food for someone today. I'm going to do it. I did that, and I just gave it to someone, and he was so like, it makes me cry, the stuff they say, because they're so impacted. It's like we have such big dreams, but sometimes we have to collaborate even with the people that we don't know on the street and make them believe. Just do a little act of kindness goes such a long way, and that's something that I think that you're so great at showing other people. And that's something you've inspired me to be better at. So I hope that when people listen to this, they're inspired just by you. You don't need to brag about, or it's not even bragging. And I get what you're saying. It can be uncomfortable to talk about, look at all the stuff that I've accomplished that people are wowed by. But it's more impactful for you to not have to tell people that and just to share your story, your human experience, not your accolades. We want human connection. We want to know what makes you you. Where did you get these ideas from? Like, did someone teach it to you? You know, it's that kind of stuff that I think is so much more powerful, because another thing you said, you don't have to be successful to be a genius. There's a million geniuses in the world that are not a success. Just because they're not super rich or they're not this or that, they can still be a genius in many different ways. And, you know, but that's something that like I'm not going to go up to someone and say, you're a genius right off the bat, but I can go up to them and have human interaction, give them a hug, ask them if they need something. And then when I drive by again another day, they might see me and they wave and they're just so happy.
I'll tell you an example of a genius.
Yes.
So I met this man. He was homeless in Colorado Springs, living in a van, looked homeless, like very just like
unkept.
Yeah. And I asked him his dream, and he said he wants a food truck. And so immediately I start listening. Key is always listening, because you never know who's a genius. And like I said, a homeless person changed my life.
Yeah.
He said, I want to have a food truck. I said, what will you sell? He said, nacho tacos. I said, nacho tacos? That's genius. Nobody's thought of this. It's like you take a taco and you put nachos in it. I'm like, that's genius. Literally, me as a businessman, I'm like, oh, this can be worldwide. Like, it has a little ring to it. It's a concept. You hear it. You want to try it. And so we built him a business, a food truck. We got him a food truck. And I mean, we opened up and there was 500 people down the street.
Wow.
For nacho tacos. But it's like, it wasn't like normal. It wasn't like tacos. It was nacho. And that's like the genius, that you don't know what's out there. There was another gentleman who was homeless, and he was a painter. And the most genius art I had ever seen in my life. There's genius everywhere. But genius isn't defined on success. A genius was a successful person who was a genius. They were a genius before they were successful.
Yes.
So it's like, if we wake up in the morning, and if you kind of have this like magical frequency, and be like, when I am introduced to somebody, I'm like, is this that like secret wizard in the movie? Like, was this the person I was supposed to meet today? Like, is this, you know, I'm always looking at the beauty in no matter the person. Like, I can learn from a kid. There was a kid that changed my life one time. So I'm doing merch for 2 Chainz. So like a good manager, finding different revenue models. And I had just rolled out this thing called Dab and Santa. It was an ugly Christmas sweater. We did $2 million in 30 days, massively successful.
Awesome.
Coming off of that, I wanted to keep the merch going because Christmas was over. And so I created this clothing line called CEO Millionaires. It was a shirt, CEO, OOO. Very popular.
I've seen it.
And then we had these like fitted like snapback caps. So like this, it was like a snapback.
Yeah.
And it was very popular. Like, that's the hat everybody wore. And I'm in LA, and I gave it to this middle school kid, and he said, man, we don't wear snapbacks no more. I was like, what you talking about? He's like, we don't wear snapbacks no more. I don't want it. I'm like, my artists are the most famous artists in the world. They wear snapbacks. I was like, what do you wear? He said, we wear Bryson Tiller caps. I'm like, what's a Bryson Tiller cap? He showed me a picture. I was like, it's just like a a hat. Like, I didn't know, because you got fitted caps, you got snapbacks, but like this was just kind of like a floppy, round brim hat. Mm-hmm. And so me as a businessman, I'm like, this kid knows something. This is the trend. And I started researching, and I'm like, okay, let me find the opportunity in it. Because snapbacks are on the way out, but like hat trends, like right now, truckers are in. Like, but there's a name for trucker hat. You know exactly what to type in. For this type of hat, that's just a hat. You don't know what to type in. So I came up with a term called dad hat. And like I based it off of like my market research of noticing like normcore fashion, where like people use like dad fashion, New Balance, you know, like tuck in the shirt, you know, no, it's called normcore, but like dad fashion is in, like dad shoes are in. But this was like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Like this is the beginning of the trend. So I named this hat dad hat, like this style of hat, which is really just like a polo cap. Like, yeah. And that actually ended up becoming the industry name. Like we gave it a name, and Macy's uses it, Lids uses it. If you type in dad hat, that's just the name of the type of hat. Mm-hmm. And they became very popular. But that's me listening to an 8-year-old or a 10-year-old, like always listening to a kid. Yes, I'm an expert. I have $1 million clothing lines, but this 10-year-old kid knows more than me about something. So I'm always looking around, listening. Like Neve sees it. So Neve is our head of content, marketing, PR. Yes. She'll see me ask everybody questions all day long. Even though I kind of already know the answer, I'm constantly asking. Yes. And that's important to be a student, no matter if the person's homeless, no matter if the person is a kid. For example, I'm at my friend's house. So it was the former manager of Steve Harvey. His name is Gerald Washington. I'm at his house in Atlanta. And he had a daughter. And I was like, what you doing? She's like, I'm on Musical.ly. And I'm like, what's Musical.ly? And she's like showing me the videos. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'm just like listening. Is this what the kids are doing? Like Neve's little sister the other day came to America, and she said, oh, there's this app. Actually, she didn't say there was this app. She jumped up and down screaming because her phone notification went off. And it was this app that like notifies you once a day, and it's called Be Real. Oh, yeah. And I had never heard of it, but I saw her excitement for this notification. Once a day, it notifies you, you got to pull out your phone, and it's actually what you're doing, and it's just the real you. Yeah. It takes a picture of you and it takes a picture of your surrounding. Mm-hmm. And I saw her level of excitement, and I'd take note. And I'm like, okay, TikTok might be the biggest app in the world. But at one point, people thought it was stupid because it was just kids. It's not the biggest app in the world. It's the hottest app in the world. Mm-hmm. Kids dancing, how could that be big? You know? But now I got 8 million TikTok followers. I have never danced once. But like when I think about a Be Real and I saw the level of excitement on a young person, mm-hmm. I'm like, could this be the future? Let me go down all these paths of exploring. Could this be the future? So that's what I do. I always look for genius everywhere. Long story short, genius doesn't exist in just the rich person or the successful person. Genius usually exists in a very broke person who is going to create the next wave.
And who's people with struggle, they don't want to be down there anymore. They're like, I'm going up. I'm going to do the work that it takes, and I'm not quitting. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like the mindset that I always had. I'm like, I want a clean, happy house to be in, that I don't have to ask anyone for anything. It's my space. So to me, it's like that alone will motivate you mm-hmm. if you didn't have that. Mm-hmm. To me, something so simple. But I love that you seem so like you're so open. If a child, I mean, even for me, it's a lesson for me because people come up with crazy ideas, or ideas. We don't even have to call them crazy. But you seem like when someone mentions something to you, you're like open about it. You never are like, never the negative thought, which is so powerful because that right there just shows how you're wired. Like when someone texts you the wrong number asking for money for rent or whatever it was, you don't ignore it. Your first instinct is to like talk to them mm-hmm. and find out what's going on. And you're not closed off. Like you're just so open in many different ways, which I find very interesting.
Well, it's because like I know in order, like I got to work with like a Kanye and a Drake very closely. And so I got to pick up on, and when I say closely, I mean through 2 Chainz. Like we worked with Kanye and Drake on like our whole career.
Yeah.
So I noticed the things that made the most successful people the most successful. Because there's a big difference between successful and the most successful.
Yes.
And the things that make them the most successful are actually the opposite of what you would assume. You would think the most successful person is the most closed off person. It's the opposite.
Yes.
Drake, if you go back and study how he moves, he's the first artist to work with any new artist, to where he is literally giving his fan base to somebody else and putting them on without trying to sign them. Most people be like, man, I'm not about to put him on. He got to sign to me. Mm-hmm. Drake was the first person to hop on Migos. Drake was the first person to hop on 2 Chainz. First person to hop on Future. First person to hop on 21 Savage. He's always the first. He's got his ears to the street and he goes and gives, but he gets so much from supporting somebody who's not big yet. He knows that they have this genius in them. Mm-hmm. And he's a genius for just being open. Kanye's the same way.
Yeah.
Kanye will hear a new producer, like let's say, for example, like Metro Boomin or a Sonny Digital or, a producer. He'll fly that producer out to wherever he is, whether he's in Paris or Wyoming or LA. He'll fly him out and just kind of soak it up and learn from the new person who's not. Kanye is the genius in the room, but he's genius because he knows that these other people are geniuses too, whether they're successful or not. So he brings them in, and that's the difference. Like I even see it with Mr. Beast, so I constantly study and learn. Like Mr. Beast somehow has managed to be an inspiration. Like he's just like a kind of a nerdy guy who makes like YouTube videos, but it's now inspirational what he's created, $1 billion empire. But he goes and lifts up all his competition, people who could possibly replace him one day. He lifts them up every day.
Wow.
Just like how Drake does. Mm-hmm. Just like how Kanye does. So there's a lot of genius in just finding magic in other people and being open to it and not even looking at it as competition. But it keeps you in the game.
Absolutely.
So always listen, always study, always learn, but always see the magic in somebody.
Yeah. I think that's a really important thing to state because we all have something. I mean, we're all special in different ways, but yeah, it's nice to think, people seeing the magic in someone else. Like, and also collaborations are just so important in any kind of way, in any business. Like we can only grow and do so much on our own in any aspect of what we're doing. Collaborating with anyone is so important. And that can just be sharing knowledge. Like when we think collaborators, we think collaborating on an Instagram post or something like that because of social media. But it's so much more deeper than that. It's just about like the human connection and belief in other people. You believe in magic because you've created it. Drake, I'm sure, believes in it because look at the life that he's built. So it's amazing. You have that in you, but you can also kind of see it in others, and then show them that as well.
And I do want to say this too.
Yeah.
The belief in others doesn't have to just be in their ideas or their talent. Yeah. There's another thing to look for as well, and it's simply fire. So I would get these DMs from this random person all the time saying, I want to work for you. I want to work for you. And then it was like relentless. And she was even like, I'll fly to America, get an Airbnb and just intern for you. I just want to help. And I'm just like, this person is like very persistent. And then I showed this person to my business partner and we just kind of didn't think anything of it. And then we ended up needing to hire a video editor, right? So she applied for the job, but she wasn't a video editor. She just had this fire. And then when she applied for the job, she didn't even live in America. The job was for LA. She said, I'll move, I'll get this job. But I'm like, you're not a video editor. But then she made a 25-page document of ideas.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm hiring a video editor. This person doesn't know how to video edit, but this fire is inspirational.
Yes.
This girl is in the room
Yes.
right now, all the way from London. She is now our head of content.
Yes.
Shout out to Neve. She is our head of content. So sometimes you don't have to have talent or ideas. You can just have that fire.
Yes.
And if us as like all of us who are listening to this might be business owners or aspiring business owners, like if there's somebody who is showing their passion and will, it will go beyond talent any day.
Amen.
And she's worked her way all the way up. She's a dreamer, came from London, fearlessly came over to America, and she's creating this movement with us. But I just wanted to give note to that because just like Kanye will see talent or Drake will see talent in people, sometimes all you got to see is passion.
Amen. Passion is everything because the person that's passionate isn't going to do whatever it takes just because they have it inside them. It's like an inside thing. Like, this is what I have to do. I don't care. I'm going to keep going. Mm-hmm. That's powerful. That's amazing. I'm so happy that she's here too. I got to be Neve and Charlie's Uber driver today because I was like, I want to be your Uber driver so I can have time with you before and after the podcast so we can talk. But I just wanted to thank you one more time for doing this. I think it's been helpful. I learn something from you every time we have a conversation. And even though I know so much about you, I know that there's people who don't know who you are yet, but they are going to be so surprised and happy when they hear this. So I'm so thankful for you. Thank you, Charlie, for doing this.
Thank you for having me on.
Yep. So that's it. So thank you, Rubbing Elbows. I'm Amanda Lynn. You need to watch this interview with Charlie Rocket, the most amazing inspiration. But you need to watch all of these interviews because they're all going to be bringing value. That's what Charlie talks about. That's what I talk about. So check out this podcast if you want value.